Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. O.P. Verma from Himachal Pradesh University, Shimla. Today we are going to talk on module Change Agent from paper Organizational Change and Development. After studying this module, you will be able to understand the meaning of change agent and the characteristics it must possess. Different types of change agent, the role a change agent plays in facilitating the change, different change agent models, functions of change agent in facilitating the change in any organization. Let's start with the introduction. Who is responsible for initiating and managing changes in the organization? The answer to this question is change agent. But who are they? What are the qualities the change agent requires to become distinctive in bringing changes? An important question is that who can act as a change agent? Does the change agent include those in power, which typically includes senior executives, managers of major units within the organization, internal staff, development specialists, strong operational level employees, or they are the experts, consultants brought in from the outside? Be it an insider or an outsider, a change agent plays a dominant role in bringing the change. The role of change agent does not end up to the task of initiating the change process. Rather, it goes further from initiating to implementing and achieving success in sustaining the change. Change agent thus acts as a facilitating bond in the effective and efficient management of the change process. They behave as the real source, intellect, and make organizational members realize the need for change. Make them see what the future conditions look like, build necessary support system, mobilize the resources available, and fill the gap. Change agent can act in different roles according to its characteristics and according to the needs of the situation. The exact role of the change agent may vary on different point of time and is dependent on a variety of factors that needs to be considered, like the forces driving the change, the capabilities required implanting the change, the skill, ability, and influence of the change agent if it matches with the characteristics of others who are involved. Meaning of change agent. Change agent is the organizational intermediaries between the forces initiating change and the choices of intervention strategies facilitating the successful implementation of the required change. They are the one who is responsible for driving the organization from the current state to a future state which is required. In simple words, they are the one who initiate and implement change in the organization. Management is often regarded as a change agent because it is constantly engaged with managing change in the organization. A change agent may be an internal part of the organization or an outside consultant. An internal change agent is a member who has the ability, knowledge, and energy to perform a directive and guiding role in the change effort. The internal agent may be from any level or any department concerned. The selection of the internal change agent depends on the extent of its acceptability and suitability to others. Hanskar suggests 4 different roles a change agent can play. Number 1, catalyst. Number 2, solution giver. Number 3, process helper. Number 4, resource linker. The catalyst is needed to overcome the sluggishness and focus the organization on the problem faced. The solution giver knows the tactics of how to respond and solve the problem. The process helper actually makes sure a smooth facilitation of the whole change process. At last, the resource linker brings the physical and human resources together and helps them in complementing each other in finding solution to the problem. Focusing on the other aspect of taking help from outside consultants who takes on the change agent role can be looked at from two perspectives. External change agent can bring fresh perspective, ideas, and more objectivity to the problem. Considering rationality, the outside consultant brings objectivity while analyzing any organizational problem. And if we consider from the power control perspective, they are not assigned with the power to bring legitimate changes. However, management only uses them to give the appearance of impartiality. Moreover, both internal and external change agents, if utilized simultaneously and if they work in harmony with mutual trust and understanding, could prove to be a successful deal for the organization. Key characteristics of a change agent. This is the basic question in the mind of the client who is expecting change in the organization. That while selecting the change agent, what are the basic characteristics a change agent must hold to implement the change successfully. Being a change agent requires a person with a vision holding the change prospects and the solution of how to tackle the situation. The characteristics of the change agent include restlessness with the status quo and a willingness to take risk to make the required change happen. They are constantly indulged in business working environmental scanning, searching for the clues, making people understand the need for change with valid reasoning. The factors which are desirable in a change agent are enlisted as follows. Similitude. In simple words, it means likeness. This likeness goes in the context of change agent and the employees to whom the change is going to get implemented. The success of the required change depend on these characteristics, as this helps the change agent to get acceptance from the employees easily, and at the same time it facilitates the agent deriving change to understand the employees well. Enthusiastic. A change agent needs to be enthusiastic about the change. Only then he or she is going to convince the organizational members who are the actual initiators of the whole change process. Unless or until the change agent is enthusiastic regarding the change which he or she wants to implement, the rest of the members are not going to serve the purpose. Synergy. A change agent must be capable enough to understand the advantages of synergy. Any change, if it is to be implemented, does not only affect one single segment or portion of the organization, but there are several related parts that are going to get affected. So the change agent needs to synergize variety of people, resources, activities, relationship working collectively and mutually supporting the organizational change effort. Openness. This characteristics is an important one in deciding the easy facilitation of the required change. There should be free and open discussion among the change agent as well as the organizational members. Both the parties must be willing to hear, to respond, and influenced by one another's capacity. Being completely resourceful in all aspects can also act in favor of change agent in bringing change. Thus, it is the responsibility of the client agency to provide the change agent with all the resources and related authority necessary for implementing the change. Empathy, a skill of understanding and sharing another person's experiences and emotion, can also help change agent to bring change. It is a characteristics that simply leads the change agent to improve the communication and understanding level with the organizational employees. Collaborative effort. It is the obligation on the part of the change agent to take a united and collaborative effort in the direction of bringing any developmental change in the organization. The extent of the collaborative involvement and linkage between different units is more likely going to affect the success of the required change. Structuring ability. The structuring ability of the change agent ensures the extent of the success in bringing change. A change agent needs to be analytical in understanding and establishing a supportive organizational structure for implementing any change. Closeness. It simply means the closeness between the change agent and the organizational members, not only in physical but also in psychological terms. Increased proximity between the two counterparties helps to establish linkage and collaborative efforts more early, facilitating the entire change process. Encouragement. Change efforts should be designed in such a way that every change, if implemented successfully, must be rewarded with apprehensions. This refers to giving an encouraging boost to the members by recognizing and rewarding their behavior that has resulted in bringing change successfully. Types of change agent. Basically, four types of change agents can be there in any organization. One, outside pressure type. These are the change agents who are not internally working in the organization, but outside the organization and uses different pressure tactics such as public demonstration, consumer advocacy activities, etc. to implement change. 2. People-oriented type. Such agents are the one who focuses on the human resources working in the organization to bring desired change. The prime focus is on individual and he tries to bring changes in individual by using training and development techniques, behavioral modification models, and counseling. Organizational development type. Such change agents primarily focus on implementing change by using various organizational interventions strategies like group cohesiveness, sensitivity training, team building, process counseling, problem solving, etc. 4. Analysis from the top type. This type of change agents uses the analytical techniques like operational research, system analysis, policy studies, and other such approaches to highlight the top management about the required change. Role of change agent. The role characteristics of change agent purely depends on the people involved, the organization system, and the desired change in hand. In simple words, change agent plays following role. He makes the client organization realize the need for change. He makes himself acceptable to the organization. He identifies and diagnoses the client problem. The client is made receptive to the change. He prepares a blueprint for implementation of change. He stabilizes the change. He achieves a terminal relationship with the client. Change agent models. Margulies and Raya pointed out 4 change agent models. They are: number 1, the medical model. As the name suggests, the model is medical model because, like the physicians may seek opinion from outside experts, but the choice of correction therapy is their own task. This model also presents change agents as an advisors. Here the main task of change agent is mainly to diagnose problem, clarifying different issues pertaining in the problem, and suggesting possible courses of action to the top management or the final decision making. Thus, their task is to suggest the different solutions. Second model, the doctor-patient model. In this model, the change agent, that is doctor, suggests activities to improve performances. The final decision lies with the management, that is patient. The recommendations given by the change agent are usually accepted because of the established relationship between the change agent and the management. Third model, the engineering model. This model emphasizes on the implementation part of the recommendation. The model believes that the task of the change agent does not end up on diagnosing and suggesting the required change, but the real task lies on the implementation of the suggestion which the change agent is bound to accomplish. Fourth model, the process model. This model suggests that the management and the change agent collectively work together in diagnosing, selecting, implementing, and evaluating the change effort. Here, in process model, the change agent acts as a consultant, and responsibility for change remains with the management. Functions of change agent. To bring about any planned organizational change, the change agent needs to change the individual's organizational structures, technology, and the organizational process. Change in individuals. This is the most complicated task a change agent might face in an organization. Changing people means changing the attitude, behavior, expectations, lifestyle, pattern, and perception of an individual, which will certainly require a huge effort. Here, the change agent is far more concerned with applying the various organizational development techniques like sensitivity training, team building consultation, intergroup development, etc., to make sure for the employees that they are being benefited simultaneously in the process of bringing change. Any change, it is to be implemented, then it must be supported by the individuals working in the organization. The reason behind this is that only humans are the factor which makes use of the other factors. So changing the mindset of individuals working is really a difficult task. Change in individuals implies change in their skill, attitudes, and motives. In short, change in the behavior pattern of the individuals does require a strong effort on the part of the change agent. Change in organizational structure. Changing the structural pattern of the organization brings with itself a gulf of changes, not only in the organization relationship pattern, but also in all the related aspects like line of authority, responsibility, and accountability, level of decentralization, new reward system, etc. Several organizational interventions, techniques need to be applied here strategically by the change agent to facilitate the change. Organizational structure will include in itself whole of the internal structural design and functioning of the organization. The change agent will ensure that there is thorough and smooth change in the organizational structure, which also consists of authority and responsibility, pattern of employees, redesigning, departmentalization, etc. While implementing the whole process, it would also ensure that organization does not get disturbed in the regular working and remains strong in competitive upfront. Change in technology. Technology is continuously changing in this era, but the choice of technology for any organization depends on many factors. Say, change for labor intensive to capital intensive technology will depend on the government policy, trade union, cost factor, infrastructural changes, etc. An organization, before shifting towards a new technology, need to reconsider the resources available within the organization to affect the proposed change. Here, the change agent does the task of diagnosing the effects as well as the after effects of every measures. These days, we are living in a technology advanced environment. Each day, technology is advancing, bringing with itself new high-tech solutions with the advantage of cost effectiveness, increased productivity, innovation, etc. With these changes, business also requires to reach out with the pace of the upgradation. Innovation would require change agents to introduce new tools, methods, equipments, etc. in time to bring automation in the working of their production process. Change in organization process. Organization process includes decision-making communication, performance appraisal, and evaluating reward in organization. With the passage of time, every organization requires change to be done in the existing process. The change agent has to go through necessary preparations for the changeover. Within many preparations on several forefronts, the most essential, that is the psychological preparation of the individual, determine the success of any change required. Let's summarize what we have learned in this module. Thus, anyone from any position or the level in the organization can potentially become the initiator of change. But it also urges that becoming a change agent does not relate to the position or personality of the individual, but actually it is also the function of the prevailing situation and the vision change agent holds. Managing change is an essential part of the role of those who want to manage and lead. During the entire process, the agent might face challenge of resistance, exhaustion, and depression. But reaching towards the end of the process, it will leave managers with a profound sense of accomplishment. The change agent holds characteristics like broad knowledge in operational as well as on relational factors, sensitivity, maturity, and authenticity. Apart from this, a change agent must possess knowledge about the business as well as remain enthusiastic about the change, must have excellent communication skills, and is able to remain open-minded and visionary. Thank you.